Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Black fishing lures. Black fishing lures, Luke. You got a couple in your hand there. And talk about the truth behind these black, I'm talking about all black lures. Talk about the science behind it. There's an article, we'll give them some credit here, outdoorlife.com, when just Googling, what's the science behind black lures. And we'll talk about that article, which has been, looks like, shared thousands of times, actually. Pretty popular deal. And I think because it was pretty eye-opening on why black lures work. Before we get into that, though, you've heard of Slam Shady. And for those of you who've been around for a long time, you might remember the science behind Slam Shady. And it's similar to this one. And in that book, What Fish See and also The Scientific Angler, those were really kind of the two books that highlighted why white is probably the overall just best. And it was, white or pearl loaded with some sort of sparkle like silver or gold, which we have both in Slam Shady, if you don't know the story behind it. But one of the main reasons why, Luke, you recall, is that because that white will kind of blend in and take on the color of whatever water. Same if you're in Tampa and you're clear water, and meaning not clear water of the city, but very clear water, the pinfish look different there than they do up in like Jacksonville or in Georgia, where the water's different. These bait fish tend to do the same thing. They kind of take on the color of the water, and that's what white and pearl does. So
yeah, and that's what all fish do. Even catch a redfish like a pumpkin redfish and put in live well. After a little bit in a white live well, it lightens up, and so the fish will naturally, especially bait fish, we're talking about the prey, and they'll just naturally take on the color of the water. And yeah, white is so good because what the fish see, the only color fish see is the color of the water, right? With the water that's in between them and the white backdrop. If it's green water, they'll see a green lure, which is the same color as the bait fish. And the flash on Slam Shady is a big deal because now it doesn't blend in too much, where like they see the right color, but a little bit of flash so that it stands out. So overall, this has been awesome. And I've been doing a lot of color tests over the years. Where I'll have, like, if say I'm testing this particular color on this particular lure, I'll have two rods, the exact same rod, exact same reel, exact same line, same everything, except for the color of the lure. Same rigging, of course. And I'll do 3 casts, switch, 3 casts, switch, and just fish for a few hours or however long I'm fishing, and log the results. And it's actually surprisingly rare when there is a difference. But
there's a difference. There's been differences, not just a huge difference where you caught 10 on one and 1 on the other.
Yeah, until recently, I had 0 where one color caught fish and the other one did not catch anything. So it's what I've learned is that if we're spending much time on color, like, we might be overthinking it. That being said, there have been some findings that I've seen some consistent trends where one color is outproducing the other. Again, both colors usually will work, but there's definitely some trends on sky, right? The clarity of the water and how bright the sky is seems to be a big factor in having one lure consistently outperform the other.
Yep. And before we get into that, where I'm going with this is 2 things. One, we want to make very clear, because someone will be listening to this and like, I can't believe you guys have been selling me on Slam Shady. Now you're saying black's the thing. The reason we went with Slam Shady is because of that book, and just because it's been proven, and that's why Slam Shady, I believe, has got more documented species than any other single lure and lure color out there that we've seen. I mean, it's might be a couple hundred now. I don't even know what the number is. It's bonkers. So we're not saying that Slam Shady goes away. It's still our favorite. It's, in my opinion, still the most overall consistent. But right behind it, in both of those books, they talk about black. That just a black lure, the same reason a lot of bass anglers, when they're getting into bass fishing with just an old worm or Cinco or whatever it might be, they tend to go with some sort of dark purple or black. It does work really, 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 really well. So I just want to preface that we're not saying don't do Slam Shady. I'm still It's my go-to. It's what I start with. But I know there's going to be someone listening that says, I can't believe you guys been saying Slam Shady's the best, and now it's black. So all that being said, now go for it.
Yeah, and it's situational. So if anybody, then there's, when in doubt, go white, because as we mentioned before, it blends in with the water, and it's hard to go wrong if your lure is mimicking the color of the bait. It's hard to go wrong. But so more recently, I've been doing a lot of just light versus dark comparisons. But before this one, this it's called Black Silver. We're about to change to Black Ice. Before this one came out, I was using Turd Ferguson on the tweakers pretty much all winter long. And that has been the most telling color experiment, because I've been using the tweaker, and they're very weedless. They have great darting action. And so I'll actually use two of them. So I'll use a tandem rig called the Sidekick rig, where both lures are riding side by side and basically bouncing off each other. And so that's just a way to present two different colors at the exact same time, with the exact retrieve, everything the same. That's when I started seeing disparities. And it was basically the clarity of the water, basically the ability for the fish to see versus not see was the big decision point on light versus dark. But what was crazy is that it ended up being the opposite of what I've been taught and like what I've heard on like TV shows my whole life. Probably heard it as well, where dark lures, use them at night, right? Use them in dark water when it's cloudy. What I've been finding is the exact opposite. So the brighter the sun, like no clouds in the sky, and the clearer the water, the more the dark one wins. And it's been consistent on early mornings. The lighter color is almost always winning early, and then the darker color will come back and usually win, depending on how long I stay, once the sun's up. And then a fish in the evening, the opposite. Fish in the evening, the dark color will start out winning, and then the lighter one will start picking up, closer to twilight, and even at night too. Granted, I haven't done a whole lot of night tests yet. That'll be coming up soon. Now that I have some of the plugs, like the Skinny Lipper, have the same color. My favorite night.
I think does look good.
Yeah, my favorite nighttime lure is this wake mullet for buzzing shallow flats for reds and snook and big trout. So I'll start using this one against the Slam Shady at night to see what matters at night. All I know is that Slam Shady definitely worked great at night. I've been using Slam Shady, like tournament fishing. If I'm actually like fishing for real, Slam Shady is still what I go with, because it's just proven to work. But I'm starting to really gravitate toward these black lures and the darker ones. It started with the jerk bait. This is the Polk County Tweaker. And basically this is this exact one. I actually caught, that was in the Chaswitzky River. It was after my camping trip where I camped out on my boat while exploring some waters up in the Chaz, which is really cool country. And the last day, I decided it was glass calm, very very clear, not a cloud in the sky, and it was a really tough bite. And so I was like, okay, let me pull out the tweaker, which is my favorite lure when it's calm and clear. And I did the black versus the white, basically Slam Shady versus this Black Ice, and I caught a full slam on this, and I caught nothing on Slam Shady. That's the only time I've ever actually got beat up with Slam Shady. But again, crystal clear water, not a cloud in the sky. And I was having to go super slow. So I was basically like dragging bottom. And I don't know why it was such a big disparity, but I caught a red, snook, trout, and I had a flounder get off right at the boat on the black, and nada on the Slam Shady. Granted, I did have some strikes on the Slam Shady. I just didn't get a hook set.
All right, so what's the science? What's the science behind it? Is it like this article talks about, everything underwater is backlit, and on a super bright day, we've been down there, free diving and stuff in, 12 feet of water or less, and it is bright. And I haven't done the test, but I would have to imagine I could see a black lure way easier than I could a white lure going through when it's that bright outside and that clear of water, like in the Keys.
Yeah. But that science, because the reason why, according to the research I've been reading, the reason why black is featured a lot is because it gives off the best silhouette. Obviously, like for redfish, sea trout, snook, flounder, they're all predator. They're all ambush predators, so they're They're almost always on the bottom and feeding up, right, looking up. But again, when this black one did the best relative to white, it was on the bottom. So those fish weren't looking up at it; they were looking side view.
Mm.
So I guess my finding wasn't quite addressed in that, at least in the research. But again, the main draw on black, according to the research that's out there, is just that it offers the best silhouette. Obviously, you can see this very good on my white backdrop, whereas this doesn't stick out quite as much. It's just casting the silhouette. So if you're using a lure that's the right size of the prey that they're feeding on and the right shape, they're going to see it and immediately identify it as food and strike it. One of my personal thoughts, because I've been doing these tests in Charlotte Harbor, Tampa Bay, and then the Chaz, like the Nature Coast. And this black has been consistent, again, consistently doing better when it's clear and calm. I think part of it, most layers I'm fishing are high pressure, is it's just something different. I think they just aren't really afraid of it yet. Is just one just hunch. And then more recently, I haven't done enough testing with the plugs, with the skinny lipper to say one way or the other, but so far it's about dead even. And what I've been testing it against is the full on natural mullet, just to see if the black can outperform like the super high def. This one's obviously pretty beat up, but so far it's about even. However, the natural has had the bigger fish. So, but the black was doing surprisingly well.
One thing it mentioned in this article, which it seemed like it was a little bit leaning more towards bass fishing, and he talked about flies and stuff. He did mention the word snook in there, but there's a lot of fly fishing. And this was another thing that on the science of it for bass fishing. So when these fish you mentioned, Luke, are looking up from the bottom, looking up, there's either sun or a moon, that's creating the light. And anything that's dark is going to have, in general, a clear silhouette. But he says also leeches, hellgrammites, and stoneflies are a very common aquatic forage for a lot of the freshwater species, and all of them are black. And so are beetles, so are big ants, and spiders, and basically most of the big terrestrial insects that are crossing the water around lily pads and stuff are dark or black in that case. And so his point was, hey, one, it's creating a silhouette, and two, these bass in particular are used to seeing things that are really dark in general. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it is true. Like most of our hardcore fly fishing friends that tie a lot of flies, they always have a black or black and purple. And even people swear for snook and tarpon, like that's a go-to fly. Is that and same with you, right? That the reason we came up with this was black. It was one of our go-tos that seemed unstoppable as a confidence lure for bass fishing.
Yeah, that's how it started. So it was a Renegade. I'm still upset they don't make them anymore, but as a Renegade worm, I was a diehard bass angler when I was younger. And Renegade made this worm that was this exact color. So it was black with little small silver flecks. I'll kind of twist it. You can see the silver flashing, and it was amazing. It was by far my best lure I've ever thrown. And I couldn't find it for a while. And then it was my dad and I were on the way down to Boca Grande, and we for just a day of fishing, we stopped by the Super Walmart that's in Inglewood, and I remember like it was a whole pin of them or whatever. It's like 10 of them on the pin. I grabbed all 10 of them, and that was the last time I ever saw them. I've obviously since used them, but anyhow, it was always for bass. I never even considered it for saltwater until this Turd Ferguson color on the tweaker has been consistently catching great fish.
And to be clear, Turd Ferguson is brown, like turd.
It's brown, but it's a dark lure. Like that's when I started doing the dark versus light. And then I was like, all right, well, this dark is actually doing pretty well. Can't get much darker than black, but let's at least spruce it up a little bit with some silver flash. And that's really how it started. But like so far in testing, it's been solid. Even these are available for sale. So the tweakers in this color right now, they're called black silver on our website. So it's the tweaker, we have it, and then the 2.0 we have that color in those profiles, and then we're getting all the others coming soon, including the plugs. but that'll be probably a month or two out.
Yeah, and we'd love your feedback. Try them out yourself. Let us know what you're finding, if it's in certain water clarities, if it's at night, super bright out, etc. We're always trying to figure out what is working best in different scenarios and the science behind it. Remember talking to Hollywood one time. We were fishing with him down in Isla Morada, and we always like to just talk, old school lures with anyone who's been fishing for that many decades as a pro. And he had mentioned there was an old, I think it was a Johnson,
silver minnow.
Spoon. Yeah, the spoon. They used to make an all black one, and he's like, you can find it every once in a while. He's like, that would catch the biggest snook out there, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because I mean, part of, at least in my opinion, as a person, part of the appeal of a spoon, either gold or silver, is it's got a lot of flash and it's causing some commotion and vibration, and both visually and just throughout the water. And it seems like black would defeat the shininess, but maybe it's that whole silhouette of that backdrop on certain days, because obviously the Keys, crazy clear water. So I'm wondering if that's something.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put it past it. So far, again, I went from not thinking black was even going to be an option to now it's bumping up the trust scale pretty quickly. Particularly, even like this lure right here, I'm getting it rigged up. I'm going out tomorrow at Bayport. I'm taking the paddleboard out, the motorized paddleboard, and it's going to be calm and clear. And so this right here is on my number one setup.
Too cool. Also, speaking of science, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, that Peter Deeks underwater course, the underwater world of inshore saltwater fishing, is out there. It's live. It's only for lifers and VIP members, or if you went and bought it separately. Check that out. We are getting some crazy reviews, meaning like people like mind blown, like I can't believe someone finally put this together. And there was it ended up turning into a movie, and I'm blanking on the name. I wish I had it in front of me, but it was a underwater bass fishing, essentially a movie. They turned it into like almost a full-length movie. And that was like mind-blowing to people, because no one had really studied bass underwater. And that was, a big thing that Johnson did there, who wrote the book Scientific Angler. He spent so much time, and he was a part of that whole movement to get that out there. And Deke spent 3 years building this course, and really, really, really amazing. So make sure to get that. And for you lifers, I know a bunch of you upgraded here recently, maybe even right now, depending on when you listen to this. We're at the tail end of it. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to us that you guys are lifetime members, and we had that really cool rod. That thing is awesome. I don't need to pay for lifer because I'm already a lifer, but I want to pay for it just to get the rod. But I did hear, because people would ask, hey, I'm already a lifer. How can I get that lifer rod, that custom rod there? And we are going to make it available. It'll probably be later in the year. These things are essentially handmade. I mean, it's not like they go through some production line where they're making thousands in an hour. They do take a while, and we will have some available at a good deal for you lifer members. So stay tuned for that. Meaning if you didn't already get one in this latest lifer offer, I know you got your own gift prior to that. So just want to thank you guys and take a moment to do that. It's been a wild week here with all the people upgrading to VIP and lifer and getting this course. So really, really cool. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and I'll just to put in perspective, that rod that Joe's talking about, it's the slot machine, which is an amazing rod. It's made in Texas, so made in USA. And we've been talking about lure color a lot. If you want something that actually impacts catch results, focus on getting a really good rod and not so much the lure. So this rod, it is by far the best rod I've ever used. For anybody who's serious about catching big fish with lures, it has the best feel of any rod. We've made it all about performance, to the point where like the mass production rods, they'll never do it. We didn't put any paint on it. Which gives it, number one, incredible light feel. It's 4.4 ounces. The medium power one's 4.4 ounces for a 7'6" medium power rod, fast action with the full cork grip. That's unheard of. Like no other rod is that light, while still having power to get hook sets with like weedless soft plastics. And it just effortless casting all day long. It is absolutely amazing. If you're serious about getting better, particularly with lures, get a good rod and don't worry about the colors. Just get a slam shady color and you will not get scuffed. You're going to be catching some fish. So I just want to make sure that the perspective is always there. I know this is all about color, but that's pretty far down the chain. It's, get good rod, good feel, and then just worry about depth control with your lure, and then the right retrieve, the right motion. If you get those two right with a rod that you can feel what's happening on the business end, you're going to be catching a fish consistently. So,
and that's assuming you're in the right spot, which our members are, because they know about the 90-10 and have smart fishing spots and a community backing them up, et cetera. So the spot trumps it all. And even this article did tie that in. He's like, fish are not like us. We look at, I think the example in the article was like a hamburger. We could see two different hamburgers, one that's, been sitting there at Wendy's for 24 hours and one that's like a custom made. And you're like, oh, that looks soggy. Like, I'll take that one. Like, fish don't think that way. They're looking at a silhouette. They're looking at, does this look like something that I want to eat? Is it moving the right way? They're not looking at the color. Does it have eyeballs on it? That makes us feel good. Warm and fuzzy, but that's not what catches the fish, as Luke said, and as this article talked about. So
and in those color contests, the times where I saw the biggest disparity is when I was throwing the sidekick rig, where they had the two hamburgers to check out and pick the right one. If it was just one lure itself, that's when the color didn't seem to matter. Or they saw a lure that looked like the meal that they're targeting, and they went up and ate it. They didn't care if the color wasn't perfect. So just don't make a mistake. I used to buy every color of every lure that I used to throw, thinking that it mattered a lot. And the biggest finding is that it really doesn't matter much most of the time.
Yep. But you should still go get some black ones because everyone's going to have a different confidence lures as well. For me, it is Slam Shady, but I bought some of these black ones just because you never know. And if Slam Shady ain't working and nothing's working, I'm going to go at least try that. So I do think it is fun for anglers to try stuff, but to be a repeater, we like to keep it simple as well. So Luke nailed it. You don't need all that stuff. And even if you do have it, when you do go out, just take the bare minimum. I don't think you need a whole, I'm ironically wearing a Bass Pro Shop t-shirt I had for a while. You don't need a whole Bass Pro Shop aisle of lures and jig heads to go fishing for these fish. Keep it simple. Other than that, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you've had any sort of good luck, bad luck, any sort of specific results on different colors, and especially if it's black, let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear about it. This was not a sermon of us saying, here's the truth about it. We're giving you our truth, what we've seen so far. And like fishing, it's a never-ending puzzle that we just keep getting more pieces every trip.
Yeah. I'm going to take these over to the Sebastian area where I used to fish back in the day. The water's usually pretty murky, and so I'm going to do that same black versus white and see if the Slam Shady ends up winning most of the day. That's my hunch, but only way to find out is to go, and it'd be a good excuse to go back to the old stomping grounds.
Amen. Cool. All right, guys. Well, good luck, Luke. Keep us posted, and we appreciate you all big time. Comment down below, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.